Okay, let's turn and look into what's happening in the House of Representatives. Voted Tuesday afternoon. I was not expecting the vote. I know, Jim, you were saying you thought they were going to just get 7 more votes,
I thought they were
the Republicans, to pass this resolution.
going
And
to get as few as they could and then make it the Senate's problem.
yeah,
But then the coward said, "Oh, I'm going to lose this, so I don't want to be seen as a loser. I'm going to capitulate," which means he's throwing one of his major donors into the campfire, and we're going to see who it is when this comes out. But I thought they were going to leave it for the Senate to worry about, but they didn't.
427 to 1.
Yeah. That's called you've lost the court of public opinion.
427 to 1. Representative Clay Higgins, a Louisiana Republican, according to the Associated Press, is a fervent supporter of Trump and voted against the resolution. I'll see. I guess we'll see if MAGA makes good on that and primaries him to get rid of him. They said they were going to get rid of any Republican who doesn't vote for this resolution. So
what are there, 400 or 218 or something? 219 Republicans.
Yeah,
so one
right
didn't.
now,
So there's 218. So 218 bad Republicans, according to Dumbbell.
I'll be curious now. It's going to go over to the Senate. I'll be curious to see when they take it up, given that it's 427 to 1. The Senate Majority Leader Thune has been circumspect about it. I think he was, loving that it wasn't his problem. It was Mike Johnson's problem. And Mike Johnson was just like, we don't need a Congress. We don't need a House of Representatives. Let's just shut it all down. And then I'm sure he was thrilled when there was the actual shutdown, because then he's like, I don't have to open this at all. We don't have to vote on it. I don't have to seat a duly elected member of Congress. We can just, shut everything down so that we don't have to vote for this. And now here we are, 427 to 1. Something that I was not expecting. We saw that Larry Summers got named last week when the emails came out that were released from the Epstein estate.
Yep.
Based off of a congressional subpoena from one of the House committees.
Yep.
And now Larry Summers, former president of Harvard University, former U.S. Treasury Secretary, has said that he is now going to be backing away from public commitments after the release of those emails showed that he was super duper friendly with Jeff Epstein, his BFF.
Well, was he as good a friend as Donald Trump was? I don't know.
I want to tell you why I'm giddy about this from a progressive economics perspective. When we come back after this break. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe, leave a comment, like us, like this video on YouTube. You're listening to The Gailey Show. More after the break. Welcome back to The Gailey Show. I'm John Parker. We're coming up on the bottom of the hour. So last week when the emails came out, the Epstein emails that were released by the estate under a subpoena from a House committee, Larry Summers, the former president of Harvard, the former U.S. Treasury Secretary, was found to have a chummy relationship with Mr. Epstein. He's now said that he's going to be taking a step back from public commitments. And this guy was he, under Clinton, helped deregulate Wall Street, which led to a lot of the problems that we had in the Great Depression, let's call it for what it was, in 2008. And then under Obama, he managed, along with Timothy Geithner, to convince President Obama not to go after the banks. And I know, Jim, you've talked about that for a very long time, about how we had an opportunity to rein in the banks.
Yep.
And David Axelrod, who was an advisor to Obama, helped get him elected, said, yeah, we're going to go through with this. And there's a quote of him that said, Summers and Geithner opposed attaching big strings to bailouts. They thought it was wrong to kick banks when they were down. Banks that almost destroyed the economy. We don't want to rein them in. No, that wouldn't be So his advice ultimately led to even higher resentment for banks, led to unemployment going up during the Obama administration. And a lot of people couldn't feel the economic benefits that they claimed they were bringing about. And so, last week I said something here on the show, which was that, Democrats use a center-right economic policy. And then I had two people on the show, Representative Lee Finke and Representative Liz Ryer, Minnesota state representatives. And I was saying, well, why is there this disconnect for why, voters don't think that Democrats deliver on working class issues? When you look at Minnesota, they very clearly did. And I want to make the distinction of how could those two things be true. When we look at what Minnesota did as progressive legislation, so for folks who are listening to this on AM 950 radio and WCPT 820, our economics, what we're going to see Zohran Mamdani do, Mayor-elect Mamdani do in New York City, we provide working class economics. We provide results that deal with kitchen table issues. When we look at what we did here in Minnesota, universal meals for kids, free college tuition for families making under $80,000 a year, tax exemptions, expanding that, child care, the parental leave law for families. These are things very clearly, that was just a few of them, right? That progressives who are in the Democratic Party, who are able to take control and dictate economic policy, as we were able to do in Minnesota during the trifecta. We call it the trifecta for folks in Chicago because we had both sides of the legislature and we had the governorship. But then you look at folks like Larry Summers, who very clearly wanted to run things from the center right. And he very clearly, looking at that national level on trade, on banking policy, on fiscal, he was sort of emblematic of this lurching of the Democratic Party away from progressive policies that it had done in the past, away from democratic socialism, aka FDR, the only president who was ever elected 4 times in the history of the United States. And so many times that Republicans were like, oh my God, we have to stop this. So we passed an amendment to stop that from happening. Apparently, the Republicans don't care about it now. That's going to be a whole other story for another day when they're going to try to get Trump on the ballot in 2028. But here's another part of it. When he was president of Harvard, he came under Larry Summers' huge criticism. We're going back now to 2005 when he started at it was at an academic conference when he was talking about how women have less ability to perform in science and mathematics than men. He downplayed the role of discrimination and social factors for why there weren't female professors in science and engineering at major universities. As president of Harvard, it was like a low point for women being able to get tenure at that university. Now, put this in context of that same time period, he's being BFFs with Jeffrey Epstein. So this is just, didn't know about it, giddy that this guy is going to finally get his comeuppance. And I see that Senator Elizabeth Warren is already going after him and saying that he needs to be stripped of everything and any relation that he has to Harvard. But yeah, we were talking earlier in the here in the studio with the host of the Downright Upright show, Philip Anthony, and we were all here in the studio agreeing, like, it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat, it doesn't matter if it's a progressive, it doesn't matter if it's a MAGA person. If you are in those files, you need to be held accountable. It doesn't matter if you're a Prince of England, former Prince Andrew.
Right.
You need to be taken down. You need to be tried. You need to have accountability in this.
Right.
And so for those of us who did not like Larry Summers and on policy issues, and then we're like, wait a minute, dude, why are you sitting here going after women as the president of Harvard? Like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. And then it just starts to all come out. Eventually, 20 years later, from when he made those remarks at a conference in 2005, we start to see just exactly how much of a garbage human being Larry Summers actually was.
Yeah, doesn't look good. And the sad thing, like you say, is that if Obama had waited 24 more hours, Citicorp was going to go bankrupt. And when that happened, and he would have brought the rest of the banks into a conference room and said, look, here's what's going to happen. We're going to break you guys up into a million pieces. No more of the centralized with all of you having the high percentage of all the banking. It would have broken that whole terrible gang of thieves apart.
And it also, I was always like, how in the heck
Terrible.
was he a fellow of the Center for American Progress? Which is labels itself a progressive think tank.
Yeah.
But it's like, when you have Larry Summers there, it's sort of like, really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, he was the guy that went after Biden and started tanking publicly the policies that he was going after. So when we see this huge bill that Biden passed to get people out of COVID, that was a huge, there were so many progressive policies in there. And then they just completely dismantled it, largely under, public criticism from guys like Larry Summers and the former, what was he? The former senator from, I just want to blank him from existence. I don't remember what his name is. Well, who is it? The former West Virginia senator? It's not even worth it. Not even worth it.
Coleman.
Don't even remember. We're gonna take a break here. When we come back, we're gonna talk about some more economic policy and a nightmare judge that Trump just nominated. You're listening to The Gateway Show.